Bitcoin supply and demand shock is here, but what does it mean for crypto? During this video, I'm going to explain to you and show you different data that will pretty much inform you what's going to happen over the cycle here and why you want to get into cryptocurrency and different altcoins now. And when I say now, I don't mean today necessarily, but I mean over the next few weeks while we're sitting here ranging as we do after every halving. Now let's get into the data. As you can see right here, we just had block number 840,000, which was the halving block for the fourth Bitcoin halving. So now, as you can see also, the mining reward has dropped from 6.25 to 3.125 Bitcoin per block, meaning that now the supply that is being put on the market is half of what the supply was being put on the market the day before the halving. So there's half the Bitcoin being mined, being made that there was before. So that's obviously going to make it much harder to buy Bitcoin. And we already have the ETFs, guys. If you look at this, the net Bitcoin ETF flows, just the ETFs alone are taking up around 3,000 Bitcoin a day. Some days 5 and even 10,000 Bitcoin. We've had ridiculous days here of Bitcoin ETF inflows. Now, we've also had days where the outflows have superseded the inflows and we've had negative days. But the reason why this cannot continue is because we simply do not have the Bitcoin to allow it to continue. If we're literally, let's say 3,000 Bitcoin that the ETFs are averaging purchasing a day. Now, that's literally right now it was about 3 times the amount of what we mine daily. Now it's about 6 to 7 times what we're mining daily. Where are they going to get it from? The cryptocurrency exchanges. As we know with the cryptocurrency exchanges, it's not like there's a ton of reserves. Here's the reserves right here. You can clearly see that the price of Bitcoin has been going up as the reserves have continuously been going down. So it's not going to be long before there's no more Bitcoin at all for these exchanges to sell. Actually, if you look at the 3-year wallets, long-term HODL wallets for Bitcoin, the wallets that have held Bitcoin for at least 3 years hold 10 million Bitcoin. With the almost 4 million Bitcoin that's lost, that's 14 out of 19 million Bitcoin right there, guys. So you're talking about 25% of the supply that's out here for people to mess with between retail, between big businesses, between these ETFs, and big businesses haven't even got in yet, guys. They're watching these ETFs. This is like the test run for these businesses before they start allocating assets under management. And once we have businesses even start to allocate just 1% of the assets under their management, you're talking about billions, tens of billions of dollars that is going to come pouring into cryptocurrency. It's going to come pouring into Bitcoin. It's going to flood out into other coins like ETF, like the Ethereum ETF that's bound to come because we know it's going to be here eventually. They've already filed for it. It's in the process. Now, as you guys can see right here, also with the ETFs, as far as grayscale, I don't know if you guys know how they've been doing this here. Grayscale has been dumping and dumping and dumping the whole time. If you look, this right here is the total Bitcoin spot ETF net inflow, right? Right here, you can see for the day, these are the totals at the end. Now, for yesterday's date, because today's not over, obviously, the 23rd, we had plus 473 Bitcoin were added to the ETFs. That's how much we pulled. That amount right there is more than the 450 Bitcoin that were mined. So just that little bit of supply right there that we pulled yesterday, even though it was a very low day, was more than the Bitcoin mined for that day. So they had to get those other Bitcoins somewhere else. They're not fresh. You understand? Now, if you look right here at GBTC, which is grayscale, sorry, I think I said BlackRock before, but it's grayscale I'm talking about. Grayscale has been dumping. Yesterday they dumped 1,000 Bitcoin, but we still ended up with a total of plus 473. So we still ended up with a positive inflow, even though grayscale has been dumping and dumping and dumping. And see, the thing about that, the supply and demand, as I've been telling you guys, this is the demand. This is why we're having a supply in demand shock. We're having a supply shock because the supply was just cut in half. So now we don't have the supply that we had before. So it's going to create, and it's definitely got massive demand here. But the reason why we have a demand shock is because we have these ETFs demanding so much cryptocurrency, so much Bitcoin, way more than we have. So that's creating a demand shock. When you have a supply in a demand shock at the same time, shit goes crazy. This is when you're going to have Bitcoin prices hit astronomical digits. And if you know anything about cryptocurrency, the way it works, when Bitcoin starts to run and gets those little slowdowns and starts ranging, that's when altcoins start pumping through the damn roof. And that's what we want. We want to maximize as much profit as we can. We want to have the best ROI, the best return of investment. If we put a little bit of money in, we want to get a lot of money back. We don't want to put a little bit in and get nothing back. You get what I mean? So check this out. As far as Grayscale selling all of this Bitcoin that they've been selling, you can see that they literally started all the way back here. I mean, the total Bitcoin that they've actually gotten rid of is 300,000 Bitcoin they've gotten rid of. 313,000 Bitcoin to be exact is how many they've dumped since the start of their trust turning into an ETF. Now, is that sustainable? Can BlackRock continue to do that? Of course not. Of course they can't continue to do. I mean, sorry. Thank you, honey. Grayscale. Can Grayscale continue to do that? Of course they cannot. Here, let me show you this. Bitcoin price right here is in yellow. This is the Grayscale holdings in blue. As you can see, on the 10th, Grayscale had approximately 618,000 Bitcoin. Now, with the 619,000.22 Bitcoin. Okay, so 619,000 Bitcoin. Now they hold 303,000 Bitcoin. So they've dumped more than half of their supply within 3 months. Think about that. That is not sustainable. If they did the same thing again within 3 months, they'd have no Bitcoin. So you don't have to worry about everybody that keeps going, oh no, the ETFs are going to keep having negative inflows, negative days. You know, we're going to have negative flow days. No, because Grayscale cannot continue to dump like they are doing. It is going to average itself out, and it's going to get to a level where it just has regular ups and downs, just like every other ETF, spot Bitcoin ETF on the market. Now, like I said, not sustainable. As I already showed you, they're not going to be buying it from the exchanges. Can they get it from the exchanges? Of course not. The exchanges don't have it, or they're not going to have it for so long. Now, let me explain to you guys something that I really want to show you. This is a chart that I built up myself, and it shows the Bitcoin halvings, all the prior Bitcoin halvings here. It's a lot of information here. I understand that. So I'm not going to say bear with me for a second. I'm going to run through it real quick, and I'm going to explain it really nice for you guys. Okay, as you can see here, all-time highs, 4 years apart, plus or minus a month, but they're usually about 4 years apart. As you can see here, this high from this high, this all-time high from this all-time high was approximately 1,477 days. This all-time high from this all-time high, which is the green circle to the green circle, was 1,428 days. And this all-time high right here, green circle to green circle, which I have marked here from high to high, was 1,435 days. So you can literally see about 4 years for each one of them to hit high to high, which everybody knows, or most people know, just like you would know that it's 4 years apart for each cycle. But here's some more intriguing information that I started looking at. I realized that once we have the halving, every time that we've had the halving, at least the last two halvings, we've literally made the halving, and then with 18 months, we hit an all-time high. Made the halving, then within 18 months, we hit an all-time high. Actually, it was the last three. It was all of them. I'm sorry. Made it, and then within 18 months, we hit a new high. I'm sorry, it was a year. So it was the last two. A year, the first one, then 18 months, the last two. Okay, so if we did 18 months again, that would put our all-time high from the halving right here in October of 25. Also, if we did high to high 4 years, then that would also put the high here. Now, we have had a little bit of a, I guess you could say, a difference in the technical analysis that's never happened before. And that would be Bitcoin reaching an all-time high prior to the Bitcoin halving, which we just did. Now, my belief on this is that because of the ETFs, because of all the inflows and all the demand, should I say, coming from the ETFs and from people speculating and people hyping up the market on the ETF, that's what pushed the market up a little faster and a little higher, a little quicker than it should have. So honestly, I believe we'll have a little bit more sideways action than people believe. I don't mean now. We've been in some no, I do mean now. It'll continue. If you look at this halving right here, you can see right now, this parallel line right here down the screen is the halving, when the halving just happened. Now, right here, you can clearly see that, sorry, I'm trying to get this right for you guys, that when we had the halving right here, this is the weekly chart, right when we had the halving, we've been moving sideways right now for the first week in the halving, and now we're inside the second week, but we're moving sideways. Now, right before the halving, we were also moving sideways for about 6 weeks. Now, how does that concur with other halvings? If you look at the halving before this one, which is the parallel line right here, which would be the May 11th halving of 2020, you can clearly see that we kind of pumped into the halving, and then about 3 weeks prior, we started to go sideways, getting some sideways action. Then we continued sideways for another 2.5 months before the market actually started pumping. So every time we hit these halvings, it takes a little bit of time for the supply to start for like right now, the supply shock that we're having, it's going to take a little bit of time for that to start catching in, because people are going to start buying and buying like they've been doing, but the supply is going to get dwindled up and ate up so much faster, at least 50% faster. So now you're going to see the market start to move up quicker, faster, because there's not the same amount of supply, at least with the price, because that's how it works. Supply and demand, basic supply and demand. Now, if you really look over here, you can clearly see in the halving before this one, parallel line right here, we did the same thing, kind of pumped into the halving. Then we went sideways for about 3 weeks before the halving. And then after the halving, we actually went sideways for another 3 weeks, then dumped a little bit and went sideways for about another 2.5 months. So every time we hit that halving, there's some sideways consolidation prior to the upward move to the parabolic bull run. Now, you can even see right here on the first halving, same thing, guys, same thing. We sat there and seemed to pump into the halving, went sideways right during the halving, continued sideways for about 2 months, and then we turned into that pump. The pump started coming. So it takes a little bit of time for that pump to come. So basically what I'm trying to tell you right now is this is your chance to accumulate. This is your chance to buy the red. Like just now when we just had that news for Iran and Israel, you guys should have bought that dip, because you know after the halving, the average price for Bitcoin to actually I'm sorry, I don't know exactly how to say it, but I'm having a mind block here. The average production cost of Bitcoin is around $60,000. There we go. Is about $60,000 right now after the halving. So a lot of people assume that $60,000 will be that point. And honestly, if we break under $60,000, that will not be a good thing. Let me show you in the chart here, guys. This is the BTC chart for the daily chart. As you can clearly see right here, we've been ranging, guys. We've been ranging from $61,000 to $71,800. This range we've been in now for over a month. Now, as you can see, the range is just pretty much going from top to bottom. That's what a range is. Now, I put this golden pocket here from this top here to this bottom. That's what I was expecting price action to hit. As you can see, price action went up, nearly touched the golden pocket before reversing. On a smaller time frame, this is the daily here that we're looking at. On the 4-hour time frame, I did the same thing, except I pulled it from the top to the bottom because I want to see that where the golden pocket is to pull back, how far we'll pull back from. From the bottom to the top, to see where the golden pocket will pull, how far the price will have to pull back to hit the golden pocket. And that's also point of control. So that is very intriguing to me. So there's a couple different levels of confluence here at 62,700, 62,800 approximately. So I can definitely see us going back to 62,800 before any further move to the upside. But honestly, before we continue to the upside, we're going to need to break, to get a good continuance to the upside, we're going to need to break this $67,000 marker and start to put in higher highs and then higher lows. So until we start doing that, guys, once we break through here, it'll be more when, you can see the market retail and more people start to kind of jump into the market now. But as far as everything goes, the supply and demand shock is here. The theory holds valid. Bitcoin pumps up. What happens when Bitcoin pumps up, guys? It pulls the market up with it. Now, I do understand that when Bitcoin first starts to pump, that a lot of coins will sit there and really not do much because Bitcoin's sucking all the liquidity out of the market. But we both know right after that happens, Ethereum will start to get its bounce with other high-level alts. And then you'll have our small cap altcoins blow through the roof and alt season just goes. Then you got coins doing 2-3x's in a week, sometimes 2-3x's in a day, depending on what coins we're talking about. So if you guys want to know if it's time to buy cryptocurrency right now, if it's time to buy Bitcoin, yes, guys, it is time to buy crypto right now. Now is the time. Now is the time that you want to sit here and you want to try to average in as best as you can into these positions, because you know that the market is going up. You know from this prior halving data right here that we have not had the parabolic move from the retesting of the old all-time high. We've retested it. then we pull back. So we're right now under the all-time high after the halving. Guys, that's a clear buy sign. It's just so many different things here that are telling you to buy. But this video here, I wanted to focus on the supply and demand shock, how the ETFs and other companies that aren't even in yet. Because, a lot of people sat on the sidelines and they watch the ETFs. They're seeing how these ETFs are doing, how these companies are doing, how they're making out, how they're faring out basically off the ETF before they decide to put their money in. But like I told you, once they start putting assets under management into Bitcoin, you're going to see Bitcoin go crazy, and then you're going to see the rest of the market follow that. But make sure you guys, if you're buying coins that you're holding and you want to hold for a while, do your research on these coins. Make sure they're valued coins, because those value coins will take you into the next cycle. Those value coins will give you such tremendous returns that it could change your life. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment. If there's anything that you would like me to do a video on, if there's anything that you would like me to talk about, or something that you would just like to say to me, I would really appreciate it. And I would definitely appreciate it if you guys hit that subscribe button. I do my video live, as you can tell. None of this is scripted. This is me talking. I'm not a professional speaker, but I'm trying my best to get the information out to you guys. I appreciate everybody who watched the video. I thank you guys very much.